You're watching this video because you're like in pain, bro, in agonizing pain because you've been broken up with and you can't get her out of your head, and you feel angry, you feel sad, you feel down, you feel hopeless, you feel like you've lost all purpose to life, and you're stuck in your head, and most likely also stuck in your room, and you've lost all sort of love for life, so to say. And yeah, man, I get that feeling. I've been there. Most of my guys, most of all my clients have been there, and I've helped them through this. And I'm going to share with you like how I have coached them through this painful period and finally see like light at the end of the tunnel, you know. And I've suffered from something called the broken heart syndrome, which you as a man most likely will be like, the fuck is that? Some voodoo shit. It's actually true. It is a result of the emotional pain causing physiological reactions, but I'm going to get into that in a second. And yeah, man, what I'm essentially going to teach you is, or show you, is my 3-step method, the Hercules model to survive a breakup. And the 3 steps that we're going to cover are awareness, reframe, and conquer. And obviously we're going to start with step number 1. And I want to help you understand like why you feel like the way you feel right now, because I think it will help you rationalize and get out of this fucking hole that you're sort of in right now, stuck in. And first of all, like I want you to know and understand that you're not alone, bro. Like most men that have been broken up with, majority of men, 99% of men, are like feel like the same way that you feel right now. Not that I want to take away anything of your situation, because your situation will definitely be unique, but you're not alone, bro. Yeah. And by that, I also want to say that there's nothing wrong with you. It is totally normal what you're feeling right now. And I want you just to feel better. And I'm going to walk you through the steps that will help you feel better. Now, why do you as a man suffer so much from this? Like, there's a statistic that says like more than 30% of men end up in depression after a breakup. And yeah, why is that? Because most men are emotional virgins, as I call it. We men, we've been raised to suck it up, man up, and suppress our feelings. And because of that, like a breakup that is an extremely traumatic event for us, which is a like intense series of several emotions, we are faced with something that we've never truly faced. We've never faced those demons that are suddenly in front of us. And it's like an army of demons that we are not equipped with to deal with. And because of that, we suddenly, for the first time in our lives, we are actually like, we feel overwhelmed, we feel helpless. And the lack of experience of dealing with emotions, this virginity in emotionality, essentially becomes like a disadvantage to deal with this. And this is why women get over like a breakup quicker, because they've already like started processing the breakup. While for us men, due to us being emotional virgins, it's first of all more difficult to actually even experience all these emotions. Then secondly, most of the time we didn't even see it coming, right? So the breakup might have been a shock to you, as in like you didn't see it coming, while she saw it coming and like a mile away, because she already was emotionally clocking out. And yeah, because of you being like suddenly overwhelmed or faced with the truth and the reality that she's leaving you, like it feels like someone's pulling the rug under your feet away, you know, and then there's a bottomless hole essentially, and you feel like you're just falling. And because it is so sudden and because it is such a shock, it actually creates something like, it is a traumatic experience for us. Yeah. And now there's a lot of stigma around trauma, especially like hypermasculine men are like so afraid of being stigmatized or labeled with or diagnosed with something like trauma. But trauma isn't actually like it doesn't make you like a lesser of a man. Like trauma essentially just means that you've experienced something that you did not expect. That can be losing someone, an ex, death of someone, for instance, right? And there's so many other examples, so I don't want to go into that. So the reason again why you're feeling so overwhelmed and you're feeling this agonizing pain, yeah, is because it's a traumatic, unexpected event, a shock event to your system, and your system is incapable of dealing with all of those emotions. It's like it's almost like you have a small army. You are like a small army, and suddenly you're used to fighting one-on-one, yeah. But suddenly you're like entering the box ring, say you're a boxer, and suddenly you have 10 boxers against you. So it's 1 versus 10. And the 10 guys represent all the different emotions that you suddenly feel that you didn't even know fucking existed. Yeah. And then on top of that, there are 2 more concepts: loss aversion and ego, the male ego, is fragile as fuck. You as a man most likely have defined yourself through the relationship. Most likely were so in love that you pedestalized her. And because of that, her leaving you is a shock to your male ego, because now you feel like you're not a man anymore. And it threatens your masculinity. And on top of that, we have a concept called loss aversion. Loss aversion means that humans are wired. We are wired to avoid losses. So anything that is like, there's the ratio like is 2-1. Like if someone were to offer you a game where you could win, let's say $100, you would only be willing to put in $50, because the ratio of loss aversion is 2-1, as I said. So that means you would only be willing, like only when someone offers you double the money that you're putting in is it becoming an acceptable, like worthwhile risk for you to take. Yeah. And while we're not talking about money, but relationships, is like we are, as humans, are wired to like be possessive almost of the things that we care about. And that's like, for instance, let's look at loss aversion from like when you like move. You know, you move flats and you suddenly have to like declutter your flat. How often have you realized, oh shit, there's so much shit that I've never like didn't even know that existed, but now I suddenly don't want to let go of it. That's because of the loss aversion. You know, suddenly we form an attachment to something that you never like truly had an attachment for, but suddenly, because someone wants to take it away from you, or because you're faced with the option of removing it from your life, suddenly it becomes valuable again. Yeah. So those are the concepts that make it more difficult for a man, or that make it so difficult for you as a man to deal with a breakup. Now, on top of this, I want to build more awareness in terms of what's happening inside of your brain. So to make you, like, help you rationalize what's going on, so that will make it easier for you to actually like let go. So what happens in your brain when you are in a relationship is that love fundamentally is just a chemical cocktail. Yeah, love equals chemicals inside of your brain. Those chemicals, the four main ones, are oxytocin, serotonin, endorphin, and dopamine. Oxytocin is the hormone of bonding. So chemicals and hormones, I'm going to use those words interchangeably for the sake of simplicity. So oxytocin is the bonding hormone, serotonin is the mood regulator, endorphin is the painkiller, and dopamine is the reward chemical. Now, when you are in a relationship, when you're in love, every hug releases oxytocin. Yeah. Every time you have sex or kiss each other, it releases serotonin. Yeah. Every time you get like a little note from her, it releases serotonin. So that goes up. That goes up during a relationship. Endorphins are getting released when you, I don't know, hug, hold hands. You know, you do an activity together. Again, it can be sex. You know, walks. It releases endorphins. And then on top of that, dopamine, the reward chemical, gets released through all of these three. Now, when she breaks up, it's like all of this is taken away. Suddenly, there are no more hugs, there is no more sex, there is no more kisses, no more joint activities with her together, with that person. And now suddenly your brain experiences a stark withdrawal system shock. So this means your brain enters withdrawal. Yeah, like when you stop drinking alcohol, when you stop drinking coffee, for instance, when you stop eating sugar, you experience a lot of headaches, you know, and a lot of like, or sometimes also like depression because of the, let's say, depletion of those four chemicals. And love is one of the most addictive chemical cocktails. And it's like you've been drinking this chemical cocktail or this cocktail for like every single day, and you had several of those cocktails, let's say 10, and now suddenly that's been taken away. Now your brain essentially, because it hates loss aversion as well, goes absolutely crazy, and all those high levels of chemicals and hormones, they drop to zero. And your brain is like, what the fuck, bro? I want to release oxytocin, this and this. I want that back, but you're not giving it to me, and that's why you're experiencing this strong, like these strong, intense, agonizing, painful emotions, because those are essentially withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, and what I need you to fucking understand now is that this is totally normal, and there's nothing wrong with you. I said that at the beginning, but I want you to really like let that sink in. It's totally normal. And there's nothing wrong with you. And what we need to focus on and what we need to work on is now reframing this entire situation and help you feel alive again. Yeah, which I'm going to do in the next step, which is reframing. So I'm going to help you reframe this entire situation. But I'm going to clean my whiteboard for that. But before we move on to that, I want to really hammer this home. You need to acknowledge and face reality. As in, this is truly happening. She has left you. You need to acknowledge the situation. I've helped you build awareness of what's going on inside of you. And with that awareness, you need to acknowledge that she left you and that this is a life situation that that creates a lot of negative emotions, and that this is part of life and that you will be okay. Step 2, reframe. This is one of the most important parts of the recovering from a breakup, surviving a breakup, and most men fuck this point up. I'm going to start with a quote by the Stoics. I think it was Epictetus or Aurelius, and I'm sure I butchered Epictetus' names because I think his name is a different one, but who gives a shit? You get the point. What these guys said was, men are disturbed not by the things that happen, but how they interpret them. This is profound, bro. So what do I mean by that? Or what did these guys mean by that? When you walk through life, you will experience events. By that, I don't mean a fucking festival, but everything you experience. A conversation is an event. A loss of a job is an event. You bumping into someone is an event, yeah? So your life is a sequence of events. So every time you experience an event, you will experience a sensation in your body, which is also known as an emotion. And this is going to be mind-blowing for you because I'm sure you didn't even know the difference between emotions and feelings, which I'm about to explain. You didn't even know that there's a difference. You thought those mean the same thing, but they don't. So coming back to neuroscience and whatever you want to fucking label it with. You experience an event, let's say girl broke up with you, yeah? Now you will experience an extremely strong sensation in your body, most likely in your chest area. Tight, you feel tight, and an agonizing pain that you've never experienced before. That is an emotional reaction, that is a physiological reaction to something in the external. Yeah? She broke up is the event. Your response is a physiological response, which is tightness in your chest. That's it. Yeah, stay with me now. Now, in the moment that happens, when she broke up with you, when she sent you the text or whatever, she broke up over the phone, whatever she did, you interpret that as something, and most likely negative, as in bad. She broke up with me means bad, it makes me a loser. And then you attach a feeling to that interpretation of the back of that emotion. And you will say, I feel sad, I feel angry. If you're overwhelmed, you're going to go into freeze. And that means you don't feel anything, you shut down the emotion. That's what a lot of guys experience who are completely overwhelmed with this event. And because the emotions they're incapable of coping with that, they go into freeze response. Now, the other two responses to a traumatic event like a breakup are, so we have the three F's. Fight, flight, freeze. So usually fight is Andrew, is your Andrew persona. So you fight back, you call her names and whatever, she says she's a bitch. Flight is the victim, is the Kevin, and freeze is also Kevin because you're overwhelmed by your emotions. Yeah. So those are essentially interpretations that you have. Now, the crazy thing here is, bro, emotions and feelings, what's the difference? Emotions are the physiological response to an external event, nothing more. And they are a call to action. Something has happened in the external event, and now because of that, we need to act a specific way. fight, flight, or freeze. Yeah. Now there is a survival mechanism for if there's a tiger, if you were walking around in the savannah and there was suddenly a fucking, I don't know, tiger or mammoth or fucking elephant, whatever, and that was charging at you. In that moment, you felt a strong sensation in your body, because if there wasn't a strong sensation in your in your body, as in there wasn't a fear in your body, fear is an emotion, and you would look at the tiger and be like, oh, that's a cute tiger, bro, you'd be dead. So that is why emotions are actually not bad. Emotions are great. Emotions are a survival tool. However, your interpretation of the situation is what makes it good or bad, so to say. Now, if you have a Kevin lens of a breakup, you will interpret the breakup as bad, negative, and you will turn into, like, you will use the flight response or freeze response. So you'll end up on the couch crying, and not trying to get out of the situation. Versus Andrew, and again, I'm not shaming you or judging you, by the way, because this has happened to me as well, but I know it's not the best response. Or you have to fight interpretation, as in like, she was a bitch anyways, and then you fight, as in like, I'm gonna show the world that I'm the greatest guy ever. But what you don't do is you fight, but you don't feel. And Kevin also, like, Kevin feels too much. While Andrew doesn't feel anything. He suppresses. And those are essentially two different responses to this breakup. Breakup, suppress, or become feeling. Suppress feeling, become feeling. Now the issue with that is feelings are always valid, but they're not always right. So what do I mean by that? It is totally okay for you to interpret a situation in a specific way and feel the feeling. Yeah. But it doesn't mean that you are totally right. For instance, you say that this breakup is extremely bad. And you say in that moment you feel that you're a loser. Now it is okay for you, it's valid that you feel this because your interpretation is there, but you're not right. You're not a loser for like someone else breaking up with you. So do you understand that the difference between feelings, like feelings is an interpretation, it's subjective. Feelings are subjective. And that means that they're not always right, you know? Now, the biggest issue that I see with a lot of Kevins is, and I'm going to focus on Andrews in a second as well, is it is like extremely important that during a breakup that you feel your emotions, that you feel your feelings and your emotions, yeah? Like, never ever suppress them. I'm going to explain in a second why. But never feel your emotion and become the emotion. Feel the emotion, don't become it. Feel the anger, don't become the anger. Because if you become the anger and you stay stuck in that anger state, that's when you're never gonna get over her, because you're gonna identify yourself with that emotion, and anger is so addictive that you will stay stuck in anger. What you need to do, bro, is you need to feel the emotion and need to feel all of this. And you need to take that, like, let's assume there's a bucket of trash. And you can throw all your emotions in there, all your feelings in there. But at some point you have to take them out. You have to let go of them. Yeah. And the way to let go of those feelings and emotions is by communicating them, verbalizing them, journaling them, verbalizing them, sharing them with men's groups. This is like one of the best like accelerators for getting over a breakup and rebuilding yourself as a man is a men's group. Now, I obviously happen to have a men's group. I obviously am a coach, and I am opening the doors to that community. So if you want in that community, if you want to become part of that community, bro, reach out to me, click a link. There's going to be a link somewhere in this video. Click on that link, and I'm happy to help you out of this situation. If you don't want to do it, it's totally fine. I'm not going to judge you, because a lot of men are afraid to take that step. But if you want to become a true Hercules and truly get over her, why not get expert help rather than just trying to fucking figure it out by yourself and not getting anywhere? Because it took me 7 years to get over a breakup, because I just tried to figure it out by myself. I eventually got there, but maybe you don't want to take it. You don't want to let it take 7 fucking years. Yeah. Anyways, so journaling. What do you feel? Men's groups are powerful ways of releasing and like venting those emotions. Now, what are shit ways to deal with a breakup? And that's the Andrew way. Numbing it. Numbing means you put everything in the trash, but the trash is full, and then you push it further down, you try to squeeze more stuff in, and you never take the trash out of the fucking flat. And at some point it starts to stink. And you think, and that what is essentially, what are actions that push down the shit? Playing PS5, fucking around, drinking, taking Coca-Cola, whatever. I used to do all these things, bro, when I was living in London, or even smaller, whenever I was living in fucking France. Like, I was fucking around. I couldn't get over my ex, so I thought I'm going to replace her. That didn't work. I got drunk every weekend. That didn't work. I was engaging in I was relieving myself of the pain, but I wasn't curing the pain. I was essentially, there was a massive wound in my chest. There was a broken heart syndrome, by the way, bro, and I'm not joking, because of, and I'm gonna share with you right away why there is such a thing as a broken heart syndrome. Your emotions cannot be emotions cannot be destroyed, right? Because they're like a survival instinct from your survival mechanism from your body. But if you always suppress your emotions, they need to let go out. They need to leave the system somehow. But those emotions, as they cannot be destroyed, they can only be converted. So they will be converted in physiological responses. But if you don't feel those physiological responses, if you don't allow those physiological responses to like be expressed, it's going to be internalized. And the broken heart syndrome is a result of your heart being under intense pressure through cortisol release and adrenaline release, because those emotions create physiological responses in your body, and the emotions will continue to create those physiological responses in your body until you let them, release them. Because I didn't release them fully, because I didn't have the tools to release them fully, it essentially attacked my heart. It was too much for my heart to handle, and it was like mini heart attacks that I was experiencing through a period of a couple of years. Until I finally found a doctor who had a holistic approach and said we don't find anything on the MIT or whatever. I don't fucking know, this thing where they put you in a tube and shit, They couldn't find anything on the scan, or was it EKG? I don't know. They did plenty of tests. They couldn't find anything physical on the heart, but because it was essentially physiological. Yeah. So anyways, that was a long story short. Essentially, you have a wound here, and putting a plaster on it might contain the wound, but it's not going to heal the wound. Yeah. So you need surgery. You can't fucking put a plaster on it, bro. And so stop numbing it with video games, hookups, pretending that you're okay. Also, going to the gym is not going to help you, bro. It feels good. Why? Because it's going to release serotonin and dopamine and endorphins. But when you come home, you will still feel shit. So the best way that you can feel and release all this is by crying, bro. Think about it this way. Nature is pretty efficient. And most of the instincts and tools that we have within our body, they serve a specific mechanism purpose. For instance, you see a specific, you see a tiger, there's a threat to your life, you better run away. You feel fear triggers flight response, because if you're stupid, you fight. If you fight it once, you will not survive, and then you're eliminated from the gene pool. So flight is the better response, or freeze maybe around bears, whatever. So essentially, every mechanism within our body serves a purpose, and crying is still around. So that means it serves a purpose. And crying is one of the best ways to release yourself of heavy emotions. So what I can advise you to do is sit on the fucking couch, don't play any music, whatever, and just cry it out. Yeah, cry it out, put your hand on the heart and just feel what you feel and let it flow, And one more thing before I forget this is, over time, you will change your interpretation of the event, and that will then create a different feeling. Yeah. So you can change the process here by giving it a different interpretation. What do I mean by that? The breakup doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be good. It is just a breakup. It is a negative life situation, which is part of life. And one powerful reframe that I used was, I will be okay. I told myself, my inner child in that moment, you will be okay no matter what. If she fucks another guy, if she finds another guy, if she marries another guy, which she will, most likely she will be on Tinder and she's fucking other guys already. She's sucking 10 cocks, whatever. I thought of the worst situations that could possibly happen. And I realized, okay, if all of this happened, will I still be okay? Will I still be alive? And yes, I will be. So I am okay, actually. I will be okay. And I will go through this period no matter what. I will survive, man. And that reframe started to essentially, because this is a feedback loop, yeah? Once you hijack this feedback loop here through a different interpretation, you label the situation with a different feeling, and then, let's say, a more positive feeling. It's like, it's going to be okay. And then other events throughout your life that might have a negative impact on your life, will not be as intense because you will be still okay. Because you've survived some bad situation before, so you will survive the next bad situation in your life. Yeah, man, and one more thing, before I forget, if you don't feel your emotions, bro, they will, as I said, they cannot be destroyed, only be converted, and they will find a way to express itself. And if you look at TikTok, there will be a lot of videos of men engaging in road rage or completely snapping, and those are men that numbed their emotions, that never felt their emotions. You've got a choice, man. As I said, if you want help, you know where to find me. Step number 3, conquer. This one's actually fucking exciting. I sound surprised, but actually I should be. Everything's exciting. Because if you have noticed, man, like a breakup, even though it makes you feel like shit, but like it makes you feel something. Because again, what a lot of guys get wrong is like, they don't want to feel the pain. But when you numb yourself to feel pain, you'll also numb yourself to the other side of the coin, which is happiness. Because you can't kill only one side. The emotions have a duality. If you kill one extreme, you kill the other. So if you don't feel anything anymore, bro, what's the point of life? Because at the end of the day, everything you do is to feel something. By the way, you fuck a girl because you want to feel something, dopamine, for instance. You eat something, dopamine again, because you want to feel something. You watch a TV show because you want to feel something. You see, so everything you do is driven by an emotion or a feeling, and so it is actually, as Tate would say, asinine, aka stupid, to try to numb your emotions. You just need to become in control of them, as in like, now is a good time to interpret and label that emotion with a feeling, versus right now might not be the best time. Am I going to do it later in the day? Yeah. Anyways, that's part of reframe. Let's go focus on conquer. So a powerful, why do I love conquer? Conquer means that you fucking rebuild yourself as a man. And I think there's nothing fucking more fun than rebuilding yourself, refining yourself, And a lot of men, what they don't realize is they lose themselves in relationships. And they become like a shadow of themselves, and this is also one of the reasons why women break up with them. Is when they meet the guy, he's like, he's somewhat like assertive, whatever. And then throughout the relationship, the guy becomes needy, clingy, and all his trauma pops up, childhood trauma, anxious attachment, etc. And then these guys, these Kevins, they change. Actually, they don't change. They just reveal their true self, and there's not the self that the women was presented with, and that's why they break up over time, because they're like, hey, you lied to me, And that's why it's actually, a breakup is like, I call it a breakup equals opportunity, and you have an opportunity to rebuild yourself as a man, bro. Create a Hercules, become Hercules. Ask yourself, what hobbies have you put off? during the relationship, you know? How can you challenge yourself now? And how can you become Hercules? How would Hercules actually look like? What would your Hercules version look like? What is your Hercules version? You know, and those are like fucking amazing like steps to take to like start like rebuilding yourself, you know, and become a better version of yourself. And in the process of healing, because you're healing, you can also start letting go by writing a letter. Write a letter to her. Expressing everything, you know? What do you want to thank her for? What would you tell her? And yeah, like finish the letter with like, goodbye, I wish you all the best. And then throw the letter away, you know, because that marks the end of the chapter or the book or the chapter with her. Because your life is like a book. And each person or main event equals a chapter. And you can ask yourself, how many chapters, actually, what chapters do I want to write now? Yeah, and then you suddenly start seeing this as an opportunity to become a different version of yourself, or like actually find your authentic version, your authentic masculine version, your Hercules, you know? And yeah, bro, that's it. That's as simple as that, bro. And yeah, if you want help, not that you need help, but if you want help, if you want support, if you want to be surrounded by other men who've been through this, who can help you accelerate this, or maybe even get her back if you want to, depends on you, like this, whatever you want. Bro, I'm here to help. Join my academy. There's a link somewhere. Love and peace. Ciao, ciao.